Welcome back to Horns High Studios for another episode of 666 Seconds of Murder. That means each one of these videos is less than 666 seconds or 11 minutes and 6 seconds. So let's get started. Don't want to waste any time. Hope you like the new studio look here. Still experiment with the new lights. And so I'm not done yet, but definitely think it looks better than it did before. Let me know down below. All right, so we're talking Idaho 4 tonight, talking about a clarification video to the video that I did about the 400 witnesses. So got a lot of back and forth in the comments with this one, so I thought it was good to do a clarification. Remember though, all my videos are for informational purposes only. These are just opinions and speculation, and I'm not saying anybody's guilty of anything. I'm just talking about a case that interests me and it interests you. So most of you watching this video most likely recall that recent video I did the 400 witnesses pay to watch this happen? And it created quite the buzz here on the channel. I saw other creators discuss it, which is always good to spread the word. Even if the comments aren't good. I want to thank Harsh Reality for doing a sort of reaction video to mine where he discussed the topics I raised, which was, could the 400 witnesses that Ann Taylor brought up in that last hearing have something to do with the rumor that the crimes were broadcast in a streaming event? And Harsh had good things to say about Murder Metal Mayhem, so that was super cool. He believed that the idea of it being pay-per-view was a bit too far, but then so did I. I mentioned that as well, that I thought really it was a stretch, but I was just bringing it up because I had heard the rumor a lot and wondered if the two had something to do with each other. But in a case like the Idaho 4, I've learned that nothing is out of bounds. I mean, at least not with me. With so little information to go on, all we can do is speculate about the details over and over and over. So who wants to do that? I'd prefer looking at it from a different angle, different lens, maybe some things you guys haven't seen or heard of before. And that's why you guys watch me, because I do that, and I do it in less than 666 seconds, because your time is valuable. Now, I wanted to remind those out there that seemed a bit upset with me about this subject that I said in the last video of the idea of 400 people watching something like this. I get it. I do think it was a stretch that it was an organized pay-per-view, but, there's always a chance, right? Just like Dumb and Dumber. So you're saying there's a chance. Definitely love that movie. Now, do I feel that 400 people were doing this? No, I don't. I know that of the 400, you've probably got a bunch of experts, neighbors, friends, coworkers, employers, police, and maybe the people at the Sigma Chi party. That's a lot of people. But I don't think that that's where the 400 comes from. I mentioned that in the video that I did, that it's possible that some of those were college kids that got the Snapchats about the crimes early that morning before 911 was called. But still, I don't think all of that is going to add up to 400 people. Now, I watched an attorney on YouTube mention that 400 witnesses was crazy and that the trial would go on for over a year if that were the case. And that's when I started to wonder if the crimes being broadcast is where maybe those numbers were getting up there in the 300 or 400. But I thought it warranted doing a video and, like I said, this clarification video for you. Now, given the digital age that we live in, with an app to do about just any task you could think of, is it that much of a stretch to imagine a group of sick people that would actually want to watch something like this? We know that people would probably pay a steep price to watch something like that. And college kids don't usually have a whole bunch of money after they're done buying beer and drugs. So the Venmo payments for $6 to the various players in this saga definitely made me wonder. I remembered seeing people post in the comments that the event was a $6 pay-per-view, which was why I added that to the scenario as a wild rumor, but could potentially hold some water. I mean, after all, the 4chan posts that were found to be filled with all kinds of facts that were not known at the time those were posted. I mean, things like Ethan's nickname is E and David Barracoa as Barry. I always thought those posts seemed eerily true, and it just fits in with this whole frat boy theory. I brought up the fact that Barry's dad did indeed work for a professional cleaning business, just like that 4chan post said. And I'm not saying that Barry or the company had anything to do with this. I'm just saying that it makes you wonder, since that was proven to be true. We also know that David Loach and Barry went to high school together and allegedly fantasized about mass murder. They talked about it often. I mean, that is definitely very creepy. They also like to be playing with K-bar knives over there at the Sigma Chi house. So do I think that a sick and twisted pay-per-view is out of the question? Absolutely not. I'm sure that there were a number of guys in that frat house that knew enough about tech that could easily set something like that up. And maybe the attackers had GoPros or something like that. I know it's warped, but it's possible. If someone could do something as brutal and savage as those crimes on King Road, do you think having a live video feed of it makes it any more depraved? The idea that others would watch it is sickening. But we live in an age where people do a lot of strange stuff. We hear about things on the dark web, and I see this being entirely possible, as disturbing as that may be. Now, there were some commenters that mentioned the families of the victims and that they don't agree with me making videos like this because it would upset them. And I get that, and I sympathize with them. But honestly, if you're a family member, the last place you need to be is on YouTube watching Idaho 4 videos. I'm sorry to say. Now, another point I made in my video is that it's very possible that if people paid to watch the event, they may have thought it was just a fight. I mean, then things could have gone horribly wrong. Or the sick people who set it up did it that way to surprise the viewers into watching a snuff film. I know it's warped, but given the sick and twisted things that fraternities and sororities have done to their pledges, I honestly wouldn't put this past them. I mean, you want to talk about some rabbit holes to go down. Wow. I did get some negative press from Get a Clue, who ridiculed the video and said it was nonsense, and that's fine. He's, of course, entitled to his own opinion. I like some of his content, and some of it I don't. But I don't criticize other channels, but he makes his bones doing that sort of thing, and his audience seems to enjoy it, so that's cool. Go hang out there. I get a fair amount of crazy emails since I started doing videos on this channel. And one of them that spams a bunch of us creators sent out an email this week that just said in the subject line, "Stop talking about pay-per-view." And I almost replied, but thankfully my wife backed me off the ledge and I refrained. Definitely better to ignore that kind of crap. I've said this over and over. I do speculation videos on this channel, opinion stuff. That's what I do. And these 666 seconds videos I do are usually that sort of thing. I do have some long form videos that I've started doing called True Crime Deep Cuts, and the interviews I've done on the channel and other interesting people that I've talked to with creators and so forth. I've also got videos of the Murder Metal Mayhem podcast where we cover solved true crime cases. So if speculation and opinion is not your thing, try some of the other content on the channel because there's a lot of it. And if you like heavy metal, I have a second channel at 666 seconds of metal for reviews and band interviews, if that's your thing. I wanted to clear the air about this. I think that the 400 people are made up of a few different groups, but I don't think it's beyond reason to think that there could be people found to be involved in a Snapchat about the events, or possibly even some that watched it live. I know it's horrible, but we live in a violent world. Remember that grub truck video and have everybody is really glued to their phones? Same, some of that stuff on the band field. I mean, maybe more than usual. So let me know in the comments what you think about this one. I want to thank the members of the Horns High Club. You guys are awesome. I really appreciate that support. And I appreciate all of you guys that watch these videos. We'll see you next time on 666 Seconds of Murder.